Okay, let's dive in a little bit more deeply into Rhode Island fire code regulations. In Rhode Island, if you're going to flip an existing structure, a single family or a two family, you're typically looking at something that's relatively easy. So that's typically battery operated smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. So obviously not an extensive cost there. Something you can pretty much do yourself. Just a matter of picking up carbon monoxide and smoke detectors, battery operated. Now, once you get to the three family level, now you're talking about some things that you really want to make sure you understand and can plan for from a budgetary standpoint. So first, with a three family, you need hardwired, interconnected smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. That includes all the apartments, the basement, and oftentimes the attic space. And so that job can be very costly, on the order of $5,000 to $10,000. But on top of that, many towns in Rhode Island will require you to add on a house electric meter for that property. And the intention there is if the building's vacant and there's no tenants paying electricity in their units, then you have no electricity to run a smoke detection type system. So they want you to have a house meter, a house electric meter that stays in the landlord's name in perpetuity and will provide power for the house, at least the house carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. So if that happens, oftentimes you need to replace the entire meter socket. So you go from 3 meters to 4, but because those 3 meters are oftentimes old, you need to replace the whole system there. And I know this from doing it myself and having encountered this. So that increases the cost of the job by several $1,000s. So bottom line, if you're flipping a three family and it doesn't already have hardwired interconnected smoke detectors, you want to plan on anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. Probably on the higher side of that is what I would encourage you to plan on. Okay. Now, once you break into four family and above, the restrictions become even more extensive. And so not only do you need the hardwired interconnected smoke detector system, but now you would also need a commercial grade heat detection fire alarm system. This is what you typically see in like a commercial building. You go into a store, you see the red commercial panel with the readouts and the LED buttons on it to confirm that it's in a good operating status. So that'll have things like horns throughout the house, strobe lights, those heat sensors that you see up on the ceiling in many of those cases. And it'll have what's called a Knox box or a lock box on the outside of the house for key access for the fire department, and a strobe light on the outside of the house with all outlined in red trim. And so this is a commercial grade type system. And so anytime you hear the word commercial, that means expensive. So what that means is what I typically planned on when I was flipping a four family or above is about $5,000 to $7,000 per unit for that fire alarm system. So for example, if you're flipping a six family and you need to add on that commercial grade fire alarm system, first you want to plan on $10,000 for your house meter plus the hardwired interconnected smoke system, so the $10,000 for that, and then you're going to want to plan on about $7,000 per unit, so around $40,000 additional to install that commercial grade fire alarm system. So you're looking at a total cost of about $50,000. That can make or break your project if you didn't properly plan for it. Okay, so those are the little things that I like to make sure that folks I'm working with to fund have planned. I'm happy to talk with you about it. Now, just to go a little further, as we go above, say, I believe it's 8 units, then you have additional requirements beyond what we've already discussed. Those may include things like sprinkler systems, a direct connection to the local fire department if your alarm goes off. Whereas with below 8 units, you're talking about a completely independent system that's just local to your home and does not necessarily connect directly to the fire department. All these things add additional cost. Additionally, once you go 4 stories or above, you're talking about the addition of sprinkler systems. So the really important thing is if you're flipping a multifamily in Rhode Island, you really want to make sure you speak with your local fire marshal and make sure you understand what the requirements are going to be for you in order to then sell that property or refinance it on the back end. Okay. Now, when we break into new construction, so this was all existing structures that we just discussed. When you break into new construction, you're talking about all different sets of regulations. So single family, as you can probably imagine, they're going to require you to have hardwired interconnected smoke detectors right from the get-go. And then once you break into multifamily, those requirements get even more extensive than we've already seen for the existing structures. So again, you're going to want to meet with your excuse me, local fire marshal to make sure you understand what those requirements are going to be. So if you have a project in Rhode Island that you'd like to discuss, and make sure that you understand the fire alarm or fire code requirements, I'm happy to talk with you about it. If you're looking for funding for a project like that, I have a lot of experience in that space and I'm happy to help you. And I hope this helps.